My daughter told me, "I hope this is your last birthday." I was ready to die, until I found out why she said it, faced my past, and discovered the one truth that changed everything I thought I knew. My name is Richard, and I turned 63 last November. I live in a small town in Pennsylvania, not far from Scranton. I've been here most of my life. I worked as a mechanic for 37 years, ran my own shop until my knees gave out and the arthritis made it hard to hold a wrench. I sold the place in 2019, just before the pandemic hit. Since then, I've been living off my pension and Social Security. I don't travel. I don't go out much. I watch a lot of old westerns and drink instant coffee. I have one daughter, her name is Emily. She's 32 now. She lives in Pittsburgh and works in marketing, I think. We don't talk often. My birthday last year was quiet. I didn't expect much. I never do. I bought myself a frozen lasagna and a 6-pack of beer the day before, just in case nobody called. Around 5 p.m., Emily showed up. I hadn't seen her in months. She didn't call ahead. She just knocked on the door and walked in like she used to when she was a teenager. She was wearing a black coat and had her hair pulled back tight. She looked tired. I asked her if she wanted something to eat, and she said no. I asked her how work was going, and she said fine. Then she sat down at the kitchen table and looked at me for a long time. I thought maybe she was going to tell me she was getting married or pregnant or something like that. But instead, she said, "I hope this is your last birthday." I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. I thought maybe she was joking, or maybe she meant something else. But she didn't laugh. She didn't explain. She just looked at me like she was waiting for me to react. I felt something cold move through my chest. I asked her what she meant, and she said, "You know what I mean." Then she stood up and walked out. I didn't follow her. I didn't call her back. I just sat there with the lasagna still in the oven and the beer unopened. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about what she said. I kept hearing it over and over. "I hope this is your last birthday." I tried to remember if I had done something to make her hate me. I went through every memory I had of her growing up. I remembered taking her to the lake in the summer, teaching her how to ride a bike, helping her with her math homework. I remembered the fights too, when she was 15 and wanted to go to a party I didn't approve of, when she was 17 and started dating a boy I didn't like. I remembered yelling. I remembered slamming doors. But I didn't remember anything that would make her say something like that. The next morning, I called her. She didn't pick up. I left a message. I said I didn't understand what she meant and I wanted to talk. She never called back. I waited a week, then 2. I sent her a letter. I wrote it by hand, for pages. I told her I was sorry for anything I'd done. I told her I loved her. I told her I didn't want to die without knowing why she hated me. She never responded. I started thinking maybe she was right. Maybe it should be my last birthday. I didn't have much left. No wife, she left me in 2008. No friends, most of them moved away or died. No job. No purpose. Just a house full of dust and a body that hurt every time I stood up. I started drinking more. Not just beer. Whiskey. Cheap stuff. I'd sit in the garage with the door half open and drink until I couldn't feel my hands. I stopped shaving. I stopped cleaning. I stopped caring. One night in December, I took all the pills I had in the cabinet. Blood pressure meds, painkillers, sleeping pills. I lined them up on the counter and counted them. I poured a glass of whiskey and sat down. I didn't write a note. I didn't think anyone would read it. I just sat there and waited for something to tell me not to do it. Nothing came. No voice. No memory. Just silence. But I didn't go through with it. I don't know why. I think I got scared. Or maybe I got angry. I threw the pills in the sink and ran the water. I smashed the glass against the wall. I sat on the floor and cried. I hadn't cried in years. Not since my dog died in 2011. I cried until my chest hurt and my throat was raw. Then I got up and took a shower. I shaved. I cleaned the kitchen. I opened the windows. The next day, I drove to Pittsburgh. I didn't tell Emily I was coming. I just showed up at her apartment. I rang the bell. She didn't answer. I rang it again. Nothing. I sat on the steps for 2 hours. Then she came home. She saw me and stopped. She didn't say anything. I asked her if we could talk. She said no. I asked her why she said what she said. She looked at me and said, "Because I needed you to hear it." I asked her what she meant. She said, "You've been dead to me for years. I just wanted you to know." I didn't know what to say. I asked her if I could come in. She said no. Then she walked past me and went inside. I stood there for a while, then I left. I drove back home in silence. No radio. No thoughts. Just the road. When I got back, I sat in the living room and stared at the wall. I didn't cry. I didn't drink. I just sat there. I felt like something had been cut out of me. Like a part of me was missing, but I couldn't remember what it was. That was 8 months ago. I haven't heard from her since. I haven't tried to call. I haven't written. I just let it be. I wake up every day and make coffee. I sit on the porch and watch the cars go by. I go to the grocery store once a week. I talk to the cashier. Her name is Linda. She's nice. She asks me how I'm doing and I say fine. But I'm not fine. I think about Emily every day. I think about what I did to make her hate me. I think about what she said. I think about the pills. I think about the silence. I think about the way she looked at me, like I was already gone. And I wonder if maybe I am. Spring came late this year. The snow stuck around until April and the trees didn't start blooming until May. I spent most of those months inside, watching the weather change through the window. I didn't do much. I didn't want to. I felt like I was waiting for something, but I didn't know what. Maybe a letter. Maybe a phone call. Maybe nothing. One morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. When I checked it, it was a woman named Claire. She said she was a therapist and that Emily had given her my number. She said Emily wasn't ready to talk, but she thought I might benefit from speaking to someone. I didn't call back right away. I wasn't sure what I'd say. I didn't think I needed therapy. I thought I needed answers. But after a few days, I called. Claire answered. She had a soft voice. She asked me how I was doing, and I said I didn't know. She asked if I wanted to talk, and I said maybe. We set up a time. I didn't go to her office. We talked on the phone. Once a week, for about an hour. I told her about Emily. I told her about the birthday. I told her about the pills. I told her about the silence. She didn't judge me. She didn't try to fix me. She just listened. Sometimes she asked questions. Sometimes she didn't. She told me that grief doesn't always come from death. Sometimes it comes from absence. Sometimes it comes from disappointment. Sometimes it comes from the things we never said. I started thinking about the things I never said. I never told Emily I was proud of her. I never told her I missed her. I never told her I was scared when her mother left. I never told her I didn't know how to be a father. I just did what I thought I was supposed to do. I worked. I paid bills. I kept the house running. I thought that was enough. But it wasn't. Not for her. Not for me. Claire asked me if I wanted to write Emily a letter. Not to send it. Just to write it. I said I'd think about it. A few days later, I sat down and started writing. I didn't plan it. I just let the words come. I wrote about the day she was born. I wrote about the way she used to laugh when she was little. I wrote about the time she broke her arm falling off the swing and how I cried in the hospital bathroom because I felt like I failed her. I wrote about the fights. I wrote about the silence. I wrote about the birthday. I wrote about the pills. I wrote about the porch and the coffee and the way I feel like a ghost in my own house. And then I wrote, I'm sorry. I didn't send the letter. I put it in a drawer. But I felt lighter. Not better. Just less heavy. A few weeks later, I got another call from Claire. She said Emily wanted to meet. Not to talk. Just to sit. I said okay. We met at a park halfway between our towns. It was a warm day. The grass was green. The air smelled like rain. Emily was already there when I arrived. She was sitting on a bench, looking at the pond. I walked over and sat beside her. We didn't speak for a long time. Just sat. I watched the ducks. She watched the water. Then she said, I didn't mean it. I didn't know what she meant. I didn't ask. I just nodded. She said, I was angry. I didn't know how to say it. I said, I know. She said, you weren't there. I said, I thought I was. She said, you weren't. We sat in silence again. Then she said, I don't hate you. I said, I don't hate you either. She looked at me. Her eyes were red. Mine were too. She said, I just needed you to see me. I said, I see you. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just sat. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was part of something. Not forgiven. Not fixed. Just seen. We've met a few times since then. Coffee shops. Parks. No big conversations. Just presence. She tells me about work. I tell her about Linda at the grocery store. We don't talk about the past. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I keep writing. Not letters. Just thoughts. I write about the porch. I write about the ducks. I write about the way the sun feels on my face when I sit outside in the morning. I don't know if this will be my last birthday. I don't think about it that way anymore. I think about the days. One at a time. I think about the coffee. I think about the bench. I think about the silence. And I think about Emily. Not as a daughter I lost, but as a person I'm learning to know again. That's enough for now. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.